Hi everyone, and welcome to 164 Diecast. In our last video, we reviewed a 4-car set celebrating the 30th anniversary of Hot Wheels. Created in 1968, the first 16 cars, known as the Sweet 16, were designed by a team led by Harry Bentley Bradley. Bradley had formerly been a car designer for GM and Dodge before being recruited to design the first Hot Wheels cars. After the first 16 were designed, Bradley thought they were going to be a failure for Mattel and decided to return to the automotive industry. When Hot Wheels became an overnight sensation, Mattel asked him to return. Bradley declined, but recommended designer Ira Guilford to take his place. Guilford accepted the job and worked alongside Mattel designer Howard Reese. Reese, however, was tired of designing cars and wanted to work on other Mattel projects. One night, Reese was holding a party at his house and had invited a friend by the name of Larry Wood to the party. Reese and Wood had worked together at Ford designing cars and were good friends. At the party, Reese mentioned to Wood that he wanted to leave Hot Wheels designing and suggested Wood apply for his position. Wood agreed, and within the week, Mattel had what would become their most influential designer of all time. Larry Wood started in 1969 as a Hot Wheels designer and spent the next 50 years designing some of the most iconic toy cars in the history of Diecast. You can read more about Larry Wood at these websites. In 2004, Mattel created a special 10-car collector set to celebrate Wood's 35th anniversary with the company. The cars of this set were placed in an open tin container with the cover attached to the back and wrapped in a plastic covering so all the cars could be viewed while still in the packaging. The set is called Larry Wood's 35th Anniversary Commemorative Classics. This set was sold exclusively through Target stores. The Mattel product number for this set is G5508. The plastic outer wrap is fairly sturdy, but is susceptible to damage, as you can see in the set presented here. Some of the cars listed on the packaging are not correctly labeled, but this is not an error. Mattel did not make corrections to the packaging, and all sets are marked this way. I won't get into the differences here, but YouTube creator HW Collector's Database has a video where he unpacks the entire set and reviews each car. In his video, he covers the cars that are mislabeled. You can find his video here. The cars included in this set were all designed by Larry Wood and are as follows, including the name on the packaging: Plymouth Barracuda, a funny car; 50 Buick, a Woody; Purple Passion, one of Larry's most famous designs; 64 Pontiac GTO; Purple Passion 2, Talbot Lago; 1932 Bugatti Type 50, 34 Ford Delivery, 57 Chevy, and 56 Corvette. You can read more about the set here. Retiring in 2019, Larry Wood, also known as L. Woody, is probably the most well-known and, to date, most influential designer in Hot Wheels history. Chances are the Hot Wheels car you are holding, especially if it is an older one, was designed by Mr. Hot Wheels. Wood still designs cars and can often be found at car shows or toy conventions. He was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame in 2023, alongside such names as Henry Ford and Enzo Ferrari. Probably the only mistake Wood ever made in his storied 50-year career with Mattel was putting his real home phone number on the side of a tow truck he created called the Ramblin' Wrecker. He had to change his home phone number when he started receiving thousands of phone calls from kids and their parents. You can read about it here. I hope you enjoyed this look at the 2004 set celebrating Mr. Hot Wheels. And, as always, thank you for visiting 164 Diecast. And we will see you on the next video.